Hi, I'm Marc Cunningham with Grace Property Management. The Colorado legislature just passed 4 significant bills, and Governor Polis signed them into law, that are impacting real estate investors and tenants in Colorado in a significant way. So over the series of 4 videos, we're going to kind of go into depth and in detail on each of those 4 bills, how they impact you as a tenant and or how they impact you as a real estate investor in Colorado. Now, these apply to all real estate investments in Colorado. So it doesn't matter if you're a large property management company or if you're one individual with one single condo that you rent out, these bills apply to you. Now, we did a previous video where we gave an overview. In this video, we're going to go into a little detail on the Bedbug in Residential Premises Act, HB 19-1328. Now, a bedbug, if you don't know what it is, this is a picture of a bedbug on someone's hand. It's about the size. Small. Now, bedbugs historically have not been a big problem in residential properties in Colorado. I'm a little surprised that with all the things going on in our state, they chose bedbugs to legislate, but they did, so we'll make it work. But this is what they passed. This is what we're dealing with on this. Now, we're going to offer some guidance on what these rules and laws mean to you as a property manager or as a real estate investor. And here's what number 1 part of the law says. A resident is required to promptly notify the landlord in writing, has to be in writing, when a tenant suspects or knows or suspects that the tenant's dwelling may contain bedbugs. So that's part number 1. They have to give you written notification of the bedbugs. And number 2, what does the landlord do? Well, the landlord has 96 hours. The clock starts ticking. 96 hours once that notice is received to do a couple things. Number 1, they've got to obtain an inspection of the unit by a qualified inspector, and we'll define what a qualified inspector is here in just a moment. And then if bed bugs are found, they also have to inspect all the contiguous units. So imagine if this is a multifamily property and there's one unit right in the center and they find bed bugs, they have to inspect the 4 units around that property as well, because there could potentially be bed bugs inside of that. Now, what do we mean by inspector? Does that just mean that I, as the property manager, can go in and inspect? No, it doesn't. It has to be a qualified inspector. And here's how the legislator defines a qualified inspector. It means a bedbug detection team, a local health department official, a certified operator, a commercial applicator, a qualified supervisor, or a technician who's retained by the landlord to conduct an inspection for bed bugs. And it gets even more detailed because it also says this: a bedbug detection team is a scent detection canine team that holds a current independent third-party certification in accordance with the guidelines for minimum standards for canine bedbug detection team certification established by the National Pest Management Association or its successor organizations. That's a mouthful, right? That's one of the types of teams you can send in, or you can send in a commercial operator, an applicator, and a qualified supervisor who must have all been licensed by the state of Colorado in connection with the use of pesticides. All that to say, you can't go in yourself to inspect. I can't go in. It has to be certified by the state of Colorado as an expert in bedbug detection and who can use pesticides. So that's who you have to send in. Now, guidance number 3 in the process is this. Once that inspection takes place, the landlord has 2 business days to report the results to the tenant. You must report the results of the inspection to the tenant. If bedbugs are not found, so you go in, no bedbugs, that inspection report you give to the tenant has to state and inform the tenant that they can contact the local health department if they still have concerns. So make sure you give that notification to your tenant. Now, if bedbugs are found, it gets complicated, because if they are found, the qualified inspector, so the person that went in the pest control company, they now have to report to the landlord within 24 hours. So there's a legal aspect for them as well. They only have 24 hours, the clock starts ticking, to report back to us as the landlord that they did in fact find bed bugs. So if this inspection is positive now, we, the landlord, we now have 5 business days to commence what the legislature claims as reasonable measures to eradicate as determined by the qualified inspector. So we basically have to do whatever the qualified inspector says. If they say, hey, we need to go in and treat just this one room, we need to go in and treat everything, we need to do 5 treatments, we need to do 1 treatment, doesn't matter what they say, we're required by law to follow their direction. That's number 4. Step number 5 in the process is the landlord is responsible for all inspection and treatment costs. So it doesn't matter what your lease says, you as the landlord are required to pay for this. You can't pass these costs along to your tenant. It's the landlord's obligation to pay for this. Step 6, you now as the landlord, you need to give a 48-hour notice prior to the inspection and prior to the service to your tenant. You've got 48 hours to give that notification to them. Now, you can have some language in your lease. The legislature has allowed that the lease can provide for a shorter time period, but if your lease doesn't address it, you've got to give a 48-hour notice before you can go in and start doing the work on the unit. Or in the lease, they can waive all requirements to this together. The tenant has to receive notice that they won't interfere. So the tenant has to agree to participate, because it's a participatory, if that's a word, participatory aspect of ensuring that the property is treated properly. It's not just a matter of the certification team going in and spraying. They give the tenant a laundry list of things that the tenant must do in order for the pest control company to come in and sanitize the unit. So for example, the tenant's going to have to put their clothes in bags. They're going to have to wash a bunch of stuff. They're going to have to roll up their mattress and put it against the wall. They've got a lot to do, and the tenant must legally assist in this. Now, the law gives qualified inspectors certain powers, specifically to inspect things like bedding, furniture, other items. I don't know why the law says they have to have those powers, but they do. The law gives them that. And then tenants have to do a couple things as well. They're required to comply with all reasonable measures, so they have to assist in this. And they're responsible for any costs associated with prepping the unit. So for example, if the inspection company says, hey, Mr. Tenant, you've got to get rid of that couch. You've got to lift up the couch and put it on its side. The cost of getting rid of the couch, the cost of moving the furniture, those would be borne by the tenant. The property manager doesn't have to pay those costs. Those are tenant-borne costs. Now, there are some prohibitions on renting units that have bed bugs in them, and this is just common sense. Hopefully all landlords know this, but it's probably good they put this in there. It simply says that a landlord cannot offer to rent a property that they know or they reasonably believe may have bed bugs. Number one. It gets a little bit more because it also says this. There's a disclosure portion of this. So if a prospective applicant asks, if the tenant says, or if the applicant says, hey, Mr. Landlord, has this property ever had bed bugs? The landlord is required to give legal notification if that property has had bed bugs within the last 8 months. Now, why 8 months? I have no idea, but it's 8 months. So if there's bed bugs in the property in the prior 8 months, landlord must inform the tenant of that. And in addition to that, they must also give the last date, if any, on which the dwelling unit being rented, so the property we're talking about here, was treated or inspected to be free of bed bugs. So if that documentation exists, it must be given to the applicant on that side as well. So there's a little bit more on this. Hang with me. Part number 11 is simply this. The landlord is liable for the tenant and the tenant's actual damages if the landlord breaches this act. So it's a big deal. If a tenant finds bed bugs in their property and they inform you as the landlord, you need to act. Now, those timelines are really, really tight. We've actually talked to our pest control company, and they said, gosh, we don't know if we can logistically meet some of those timelines. For example, if they go out and they find bed bugs, they have 24 hours to get that report back to the property manager. Well, that's not 24 business hours, that's 24 hours. That means if they go out on a Friday afternoon at 4 p.m., they have until Saturday at 4 p.m. to give the findings back to the PM. Some of these things are going to be really, really sticky. Meaning you as a property manager, this is more important than ever on why you want to have good relationships with your tenants. We want to take care of our tenants. If there are bed bugs, we absolutely want to get rid of that for the protection, for the safety of our tenants, and to provide them a safe place to live. But these changes in law are significant. Now, if you're a client of Grace Management, don't worry, rest at ease. We're doing this stuff for you. We've got this taking place. And if at the end of this video, you're kind of itching a little bit because you're thinking about bed bugs, then that's good, because I am. I'm a little bit freaked out by the bed bugs. We'll get it taken care of for our clients. If you've got questions, contact our office, Grace Property Management. We're happy to answer any questions you may have to ensure that you stay in compliance, protect your property, protect your tenants as it relates to this new bed bug